On behalf of the Supreme Court of Virginia, I welcome you to the Harry L. Carrico Professionalism course. Some of you are beginning your law career and others are transitioning your career into the Commonwealth of Virginia. Former Chief Justice Carrico envisioned a course required of every lawyer as they begin a Virginia practice, a course that would emphasize professionalism as a high aspirational standard for the Virginia bar. Legal ethics requirements represent the lowest level of conduct acceptable of a lawyer before they are subject to discipline by their peers. Professionalism is different. Professionalism embraces higher standards of conduct that make us proud to be members of the bar. When a person takes the oath of office as a lawyer in Virginia, he or she promises to honestly, faithfully, professionally, and courteously demean themselves in the practice of law. It is a solemn oath that includes several concepts. Professionalism requires a commitment to excellence in our work. It is a great privilege to hold the client's cause in your hands. This privilege requires the very best work you are capable of doing, and it requires continued efforts to improve competency. Professionalism includes leadership and service in the communities where we live and work. Such service includes a commitment to access to justice for those who may not be able to afford legal services. Over the entrance to the United States Supreme Court is a simple and powerful declaration: equal justice under law. Without the generous contribution of lawyers, this statement would be an empty promise. Finally, when you take your oath of office, you promise to demean yourself with courtesy as a member of the Virginia State Bar. Professionalism requires daily commitment to civility in our dealings with courts, lawyers, litigants, and the public. Justice Anthony Kennedy said it best when he observed, "Civility is the mark of an accomplished and superb professional, but it is even more than this. It is an end in itself." Civility has deep roots in the idea of respect for the individual. We are civil to each other because we respect one another's human aspirations and equal standing in a democratic society. We must restore civility to every part of our legal system and public discourse. Civility defines our common cause in advancing the rule of law. Freedom may be born in protest, but it survives in civility. Today, you will have the opportunity to consider these principles of professionalism and to hear from some of the finest lawyers and judges in the Commonwealth of Virginia. The practice of law is a noble and honored profession. Together, we can keep it that way. I wish you happiness and success in the practice of law.
The legal profession offers us an unparalleled opportunity to both serve our clients and also promote the public good. We're especially fortunate in Virginia, where we follow a rich tradition of excellence and service established over more than 3 centuries. The term professionalism best describes that tradition and its practice. It also describes the exemplary lives and careers of many Virginia lawyers and judges. Today, you'll meet and interact with some of the Commonwealth's very finest lawyers. First, though, watch and listen as some of Virginia's most prominent and respected judges and lawyers share with you how the ideals of professionalism have helped define their lives and shape their distinguished careers. Harry L. Carrico became a member of the Virginia Supreme Court in 1961 and served as Chief Justice for 22 years. He presided over the court with grace and consistency during a period of unprecedented social and legal change. In 1988, he focused his energy on his commitment to professionalism on a revolutionary concept, the creation of this course for new members of the Virginia State Bar. His vision now serves as a national model for similar programs in other states throughout the country. Justice Carrico reflects on the need for professional competence among lawyers.
I think a lawyer should always strive for excellence. I think that should be his or her goal, excellence.
In February of 2003, Leroy R. Hassell Sr. was sworn in as the Chief Justice of the Virginia Supreme Court. He was the first African American to hold that position in the court's 224-year history.
As a lawyer, you should always strive to be the best. You should leave no stone unturned, and at the end of the day, irrespective of whether you've gotten a good result for your client or a result that your client does not like, you should take pride in the quality of your work.
As a federal judge in Richmond, Judge Robert Marriage ruled on critical civil rights cases during the integration of schools in Virginia in the wake of the U.S. Supreme Court decision in Brown versus Board of Education. Judge Marriage reminds us why we owe this commitment to excellence to all who look to us for guidance and help.
There aren't any small cases, and I found that out a long time ago. They're always important to somebody. And in some instances, the most important thing that occurred to an individual's life. And a lawyer has that responsibility to be careful of that, take care of it.
Excellence, at a minimum, requires confidence. Professionalism requires lawyers to concede what they do not know as a sign of character and integrity. Because even though an attorney strives for excellence, success is never certain.
We're all human. And anybody who says that he or she has never made a mistake is just, telling a little fib or big fib. And it's bound to happen because it's so easy to make a mistake. But the thing to do is learn from it.
After you acquire competence, then you have to maintain character. And character is what you are when nobody's looking.
Judge Gerald Bruce Lee knows the high value of character. Formerly a trial lawyer, then a state court judge, Congress confirmed his nomination to the federal bench with rare and resounding bipartisan support.
When I began practice 25 years ago, my father said to me, he said, you start out with a clean slate. You have no reputation now. And whatever you do and whatever you say will follow you. And so make sure that whatever it is you do is something that you're proud of and that you believe has integrity.
I fully and wholeheartedly believe that the practice of law is an honored profession. And I started practicing law many, many years ago when I think it was a profession to many people. And I fear that for some people today, it's not a profession anymore, it's just a business. But I think that what we do is so important because we protect people's lives, their liberty, and their properties, and that we have to conduct ourselves professionally and courteously. You can be a strong advocate for your client, but it doesn't mean at the end of the day that you should not be courteous and professional with your colleagues, with your clients, with the court, with everyone with whom you come in contact.
It's easy to equate aggressiveness and strong language and meanness with effective and affirmative lawyering. They're not the same thing. And you are in fact more effective if you are civil and if you are low-key and if you are dignified in how you argue your client's case, no matter how strongly you argue.
I think our adversarial system is certainly the best that's been devised yet, and its purpose is to ferret out the truth, and you don't always get the truth by soft, gentle touches. But there's a line between being adversarial and being combative.
Justice Elizabeth B. Lacey, the first woman to serve on the Virginia Supreme Court, has concerns about how technology may be affecting civility among lawyers today.
Many times you've heard the story of you write the letter that you want to write and then you stick it in your drawer for a day and then realize that maybe it was a bit intemperate and it needs to be redone. Well, with the instant response that technology has given us, we're losing that ability to stick the letter in the drawer for a couple of days. And I think that adds to the lack of civility, if you will.
A former president of the Virginia Bar Association, Phil Stone was an active trial lawyer for 25 years, serving as managing partner of a regional law firm and as president of Bridgewater College.
The best lawyers I ran up against were polite and courteous. They were tough. They were well prepared. They were intelligent. They knew their cases, but they did not exacerbate personal relationships or professional relationships and waste time on trivia. And frankly, I always thought if a lawyer was so egotistical or so emotional or actually angry in a case that he or she lost their perspective, I had an advantage.
Professionalism requires independence and objectivity. We cannot let our clients dictate how we perform our jobs. If we do, we will contribute to our clients' problems rather than to their solutions.
A lot of times clients do not understand the civility and professionalism exchange between lawyers. They see it as a failure to have zealous advocacy. They want more partisanship to show a true commitment to their cause. Lawyers can't be pulled into that. We have duties to the court, we have duties to the system, we have duties to the client sometimes that the client cannot fully understand.
In Virginia's rich history of distinguished lawyers and jurists, none have shown brighter or displayed more legal and moral courage than two heroes by anyone's definition, Judge Robert Marriage and civil rights attorney Oliver Hill Sr. Judge Marriage's life and the well-being of his family were on the line as he carried out his responsibilities amidst a firestorm of controversy and high emotion. His dog was shot and killed, his property burned, and his family was threatened. But Judge Marriage was never deterred from carrying out his constitutional mandate as a judge.
I tried to explain to my family, who did more suffering than I did, isn't it any fun for a 7-year-old kid to have U.S. Marshal go to school with him, as we did, and have marshals live with you for over 2 years, as we did, go to church, go to the stores, just everywhere. Those things are not very, very pleasant. But I remember explaining that I thought I was doing the right thing. There would be appeals, and if I were affirmed, that didn't mean the public was going to like me any better.
The laws attacking racial discrimination, which Judge Marriage faithfully enforced, were to a large degree the product of a lifetime of courageous work by Virginia lawyer Oliver Hill Sr. From the 1930s in the counties of Virginia, and later side by side with Thurgood Marshall in successfully arguing the 1954 landmark case of Brown versus Topeka Board of Education, Mr. Hill and his NAACP Legal Defense Fund colleagues exposed, challenged, and stared down invidious discrimination in our democracy. Always under intense scrutiny by those who would revel in his undoing, Mr. Hill was the quintessential professional, ever seeking to remedy injustice, yet always respectful of the system and the rule of law.
A real professional takes pride in the profession. He also takes pride in making sure that the standards are held high. See, I went to law school for the purpose of getting me trained as a lawyer to seek the reversal of Plessy versus Ferguson.
Hill and Marriage were special figures who rose to the occasion and the times they faced. Although such dramatic stories are indeed rare, all lawyers in their own way have the opportunity to make a difference. Justice Lewis F. Powell, who served with dignity as an Associate Justice of the United States Supreme Court from 1972 to 1987, was a champion of many causes related to the ideals of professionalism.
Lawyers have played a critical role in the United States of America from the day it was founded. Of the 55 members at the Constitutional Convention, 33 of them are lawyers. Lawyers have the responsibility, with judges, to preserve the Constitution of the United States. They have that responsibility more so even than legislative branches or the president. I've always been proud of being a member of the profession that has helped with judges to preserve and strengthen the rule of law in the United States of America.
Professionalism is about much more than simple adherence to ethical requirements. Honesty and good character are required, but we must do better than that. A lawyer must draw the line well above merely avoiding ethical or disciplinary lapses. Balance is an essential value of professionalism. As you balance the demands of your clients with your professional judgment, so too must you balance the demands of your practice with the responsibilities of family and community.
There's an insidious notion that is bred into most of us that there are no demands of our firms or of our profession or of our clients that are too unreasonable. And that's not true. We are in a profession, we're not in an ecclesiastical calling, and we're entitled to a life outside the practice of law.
Not one of us is ever going to say, well, you know, on our deathbed, I wish I spent more time in court, or I wish I spent more time in my office writing up transactional agreements. Nobody's going to say that. And I can tell you now that when I look back over my life, I realize that there were opportunities that I missed, soccer games I didn't see, dinners that I missed at home because I was so focused on my profession. And guess what? You can't get those back.
I found a passage from a speech that Dean William B. Spong made at the commencement of Marshall Wythe Law School in 1985. And the quotation reads like this: "I alert you to the danger of spending your formative years bereft of literature, music, art, an appreciation of nature, and most important, of the joys of family life. Jefferson's idea of taking the study of law away from the apprentice model and into an academic setting was, I believe, to assure that the practicing lawyer would be a whole person with an understanding and appreciation of many things beyond the artisan's demands of a skilled trade. I could not say it better myself.
You will learn today that professionalism is civility, competence, honesty, decency, integrity, courage, service to profession, service to the public, and of course, balance in all we do. On behalf of all of the men and women of the Virginia Bench and Bar, we wish you great professional and personal satisfaction in the practice of law in Virginia.